The fluorescent lights hummed their lonely song as Marcus wiped down the mahogany conference table for the third time that week. His reflection stared back at him from the polished surface. A 62-year-old man in a gray uniform, invisible to the executives who breezed past him each morning. 23 years he'd pushed a mop through these corridors, and not once had anyone asked his name. But Marcus didn't mind. He had his reasons for seeking the shadows, for choosing a life where nobody looked too closely. What he didn't know was that his carefully constructed invisibility was about to shatter in the most unexpected way possible. The coffee stain on Sarah Chen's blouse was the least of her problems. As the newly appointed CEO of Vertex Technologies, she'd inherited a company bleeding money, a board breathing down her neck, and exactly 90 days to turn things around or watch everything her mentor built crumble to dust. At 34, she was the youngest CEO in the company's history, and the vultures were circling, waiting for her to fail. "Miss Chen, you have the quarterly review in 10 minutes. Her assistant called through the door. Sarah grabbed her tablet, her mind already racing through projections and contingency plans. She didn't notice the janitor's cart partially blocking the hallway until she collided with it, sending her tablet clattering to the floor. The screen cracked with a sickening sound. "I'm so sorry, ma'am," Marcus said quickly, bending to retrieve it. "I should have moved." "It's fine," Sarah snapped, then caught herself. The man's weathered hands trembled slightly as he handed back her damaged device. His name tag read Marcus. Behind thick glasses, his eyes held something she couldn't quite place, a depth that seemed at odds with his position. "Actually, I'm sorry. That was rude." "Rough morning." Marcus smiled gently. "I understand, ma'am. I hope your day gets better." As she hurried away, something nagged at her. That voice. There was an educated precision to it, a careful articulation that didn't match the narrative she'd unconsciously written for him. The quarterly review was a disaster. 3 major clients had jumped ship, and the company's flagship product had been beaten to market by a competitor. That night, Sarah sat alone in her office, the city lights of Seattle blurring through tears she refused to let fall. Her father, a factory worker who'd sacrificed everything for her education, had been so proud when she got this job. She couldn't let him down. She wouldn't. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Marcus stood in the doorway with his cleaning cart. "Sorry, Miss Chen, I didn't know anyone was still here. I can come back." "No, it's okay. I was just leaving." She started gathering her things, then paused. "Marcus, can I ask you something? How long have you worked here?" 23 years next month." "You've seen a lot of CEOs come and go then." "5 before you, ma'am." Sarah leaned back in her chair. "What did the successful ones do differently?" Marcus hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. "I'm just the janitor, ma'am. I don't think—" "Please humor me." He set down his cleaning supplies and thought carefully. "Mr. Patterson, the founder, he used to say the best ideas don't come from the top. They come from the people closest to the problems." He'd eat lunch in the cafeteria, talk to the engineers, even the mailroom staff. Marcus's eyes grew distant. He understood that innovation isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about creating a room where smart people want to share their ideas. Sarah stared at him. That wasn't the answer she'd expected from a janitor. "That's actually brilliant. Thank you, Marcus." Over the following weeks, Sarah found herself looking forward to her late night conversations with the janitor, who wasn't like any janitor she'd ever met. Marcus had insights into the company's culture that her executive team either couldn't or wouldn't share. He knew which departments were feuding, which projects had secret momentum, which talented employees were planning to leave. He saw everything from the shadows, "You should talk to Jenny in product development," he told her one night. "She's been working on something in her spare time. Won't tell anyone about it because last time she suggested an idea, her manager took credit for it." Sarah followed up. Jenny's side project turned out to be a revolutionary modification to their core product, something that could change everything. Within a month, they'd fast-tracked it to development. But Sarah's curiosity about Marcus grew. His insights were too sharp. His understanding of complex technical concepts too sophisticated. One evening, she made a decision that would change both their lives. "Marcus, I need to be honest with you. I had HR pull your file." His face went pale. The cloth in his hand stilled. "Your employment application from 23 years ago, it's practically blank. No education history, no previous employment. Just a name and social security number." She paused. "Who are you really?" Marcus slowly sank into a chair, suddenly looking every one of his 62 years. "I was hoping I'd never have to answer that question." The story that spilled out was extraordinary. Dr. Marcus Holloway had been a rising star at MIT, a computer scientist whose innovations in artificial intelligence had put him on the cover of tech magazines. He'd started his own company, built it from nothing, was worth millions by 40. Then his wife got sick. Cancer. Aggressive. Experimental. Treatments drained their savings, but he'd have sold his soul if it meant one more day with her. She died anyway. Grief-stricken and broke, Marcus made a terrible decision. He used his AI algorithms to manipulate stock prices, just enough to pay the mountains of medical debt. He got caught. Federal prison, 5 years. His reputation destroyed, his company dissolved, his name synonymous with fraud. "When I got out, I was toxic," Marcus said quietly. "Couldn't get hired anywhere in tech. So I became invisible, a janitor who could hide in plain sight and still be around the work. I loved—" His voice cracked. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness for what I did, but I couldn't stay away from this world. It's all I know." Sarah sat in stunned silence. "Then show me." "What?" "You said you've been listening for 23 years. Show me what you've learned." Marcus pulled out an ancient laptop from his cart's bottom shelf, its case held together with duct tape. When he opened it, Sarah gasped. Detailed analyses of industry trends, predictions about technology shifts that had come true, product designs, algorithm optimizations, notes on company culture and morale. 23 years of brilliant observations from a man the world had thrown away. "Marcus, this is—" "You've been solving our problems for years, haven't you?" "Anonymously." He nodded slowly. "Sometimes I'd leave printouts on desks. Unsigned suggestions. I just wanted to help. To matter, even if no one knew it was me." Sarah made her decision in that moment. It was crazy. The board would revolt. But something her father had told her echoed in her mind. Real character isn't about never falling down. It's about what you do after you get back up. The board meeting 3 days later was explosive. Sarah laid out her proposal. Marcus Holloway as Chief Innovation Officer. The background check revealed his criminal record and the room erupted. "He's a convicted felon," one board member shouted. "He's been rehabilitated," Sarah countered. "He spent 23 years making amends, and his insights could save this company." "This is career suicide, Sarah." "Maybe, but it's also the right thing to do." She won by a single vote, her own. 6 months later, Vertex Technologies announced a product that revolutionized their industry. The press release credited the innovation to collaborative efforts across all levels of the company. Marcus worked from a small office, preferring to stay out of the spotlight. But his ideas, refined by teams who now knew their janitor had been a genius in disguise, transformed everything. The real change, though, was cultural. Sarah implemented Marcus's philosophy. Everyone had value. Everyone had insights worth hearing. The mailroom clerk whose delivery routes suggested inefficient office layouts. The security guard whose observations prevented a data breach. The invisible people who kept the company running suddenly had voices. On Marcus's one-year anniversary as CIO, Sarah found him in his office, staring at an old photograph of his wife. "You know what she'd say about all this?" he asked. "What?" "That redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about building a future, worthy of the second chance you've been given." He looked up, eyes bright. "Thank you for seeing past the uniform. Thank you for never giving up on who you were, even when everyone else did." That evening, Marcus returned to the executive floor one last time with his old cleaning cart. But now he moved through those halls differently. Not invisible, but seen. Not forgotten, but celebrated. And when he passed the night janitor, a young man struggling to make ends meet while studying engineering, Marcus stopped. "What's your name, son?" "David, sir." "David, I want you to know something. What you're doing right now, it doesn't define you. It's just where you are, not who you are. Keep learning, keep dreaming. And if you ever have ideas about how we can do things better around here, my door is always open." The young man's eyes widened with an emotion Marcus recognized. Hope. As Marcus walked away, he thought about invisible people and second chances, about kindness that costs nothing but changes everything. He'd spent 23 years in the shadows, but Sarah Chin had reminded him that darkness is temporary for those who keep their own light burning. The janitor with the broken past had helped save a company, but more importantly, he'd helped create a place where everyone, regardless of their title or their history, could contribute their gifts to something greater than themselves. And that, Marcus realized, was worth more than any redemption he could have imagined.